everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wild Your Garden. And today I have a very special guest with me. This is Thomas Blumire, and he is a very good friend of mine and somebody who is an absolute wildlife fanatic, aren't you, Thomas?
Yeah, definitely. That's absolutely true.
I would probably almost go to say as far as saying you are in the same wildlife nutcase category that I am. Yeah, I'm with Thomas today, and we're in his garden where, as you can see behind me, we have a wildlife pond, don't we, Thomas? Which,
that's absolutely fantastic, and so chuffed with how it's turned out.
Brilliant. Well, we'll come on to the wildlife pond in a little while, but there's quite a few things that I want to talk to Thomas about today, and I think it's going to be a very interesting chat. So stick around, and if you haven't already, then please do check out Thomas's new YouTube channel, where you can get all kinds of cool wildlife video that he has been filming over the recent months, including some behind the scenes footage, shall we say, of the wildlife pond and the wildlife garden that we've been working on here in, well, a very beautiful Norfolk, isn't it, today?
Yeah, it really
to say the least.
Lovely place.
Yeah, and so check out the Blumire Wildlife Diaries. I'll put a link into one of Thomas's videos at the end of this video for you to go and have a look at, and do subscribe to his channel just to show some support. There are some fantastic videos on there and a lot more to come, which we'll come on to in a little while. But also, if you want to follow Thomas, do check out Thomas's Instagram page as well, Blumire Wildlife Diaries, where he posts about all his adventures, shall we say, and everything that he sees within the wildlife world. So yes, do check that out and show some support. But today we're here to talk about, well, I'd like, if we can, Thomas, to start where it all started for you. So I know you're a very keen photographer, and but which was it first? Was it a chicken and the egg, wasn't it? Was it the photography or was it the wildlife?
Well, it's very much the wildlife first.
Yeah, brilliant.
And it's quite funny, really. We've got a really good picture of Dad looking through his telescope when I was a baby, and me the other direction. He's just taking no notice of me at all. So
I've got a similar story about my son, but I won't tell anyone that today, as I might get put in jail for it. But let's just say it was a rather large cricket in a swimming pool, and I wasn't paying much attention. But anyway.
So yeah, very much. So, and I mean, even as a very small child,
yeah, I
can remember seeing a robin and just being amazed and just delighted by it.
Yes, yeah.
So it's been a part of my life, but as long as I can remember.
Yeah, brilliant.
Really.
For almost 30 years, because I believe it's your birthday very soon.
Big 30 coming
Absolutely,
out.
Yeah.
In only a few days' time.
Yes, brilliant. And I had mine, 2 days ago, so yeah, almost the same.
Yeah.
Although I'm not quite turning 30, I'm a few years older than you. But yeah, so, and what are some of your fondest memories of wildlife then as a child? Apart from the robin, obviously, when you first saw that.
Well, yeah, we did some really amazing trips. Mainly in France.
Yeah.
Did an awful lot of camping trips.
Yeah.
Which is something I really look back to and kind of miss, really, because they were just so, halcyon days, really.
Yes, yeah.
And we saw some super things.
Yeah.
Lammergeiers.
Oh, wow.
In Pyrenees.
Yeah.
And all sorts of things. You could hear like subalpine warblers.
Oh, wow.
At some of the campsites.
Fantastic.
Black vultures.
Wow, yeah.
And that's just naming a very small fraction.
Yes.
Of some of the things.
Yeah.
Eagle owl.
Oh, wow. Brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah, some of those, well, they're all three of them are birds I've never had the fortune to. Well, I've seen black vultures just recently in Panama, but I haven't seen the lammergeier, which I did go looking for in the Pyrenees, but I dipped out on, sadly, but got some of the chuffs, which I was rather chuffed about.
Yeah, alpine chuffs.
Yeah,
we saw those too.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all wonderful birds, Thomas, and yeah, I'm sure you've had fond memories. The Pyrenees, of course, a magically diverse place. It really is incredible. And so, there's a few times you've been to France, is it?
Yeah, many times. I mean, there's a spate kind of in my childhood where we were going every year.
Wow.
So mainly in the south.
Yeah.
Carcassonne.
Oh yeah.
Was another place.
Yeah.
And then the Camargue.
Oh yes.
That's
lovely.
very special.
Yeah.
We saw all the flamingos.
Oh, brilliant! Wow.
That was quite a spectacle.
Brilliant! Wow. Amazing. So, and what would you say are some of your kind of adventuring highlights then, in terms of other places? Have you been many other places around the world, or was it mostly France you went to?
Well, I've been to America.
Okay, brilliant.
And when I was 12.
Yeah.
For a very special holiday for children with disabilities. And
oh, brilliant.
That was really special.
Fantastic.
And sort of learned a few of the birds over there.
Yes, yeah.
But mostly it's been UK, France and Spain.
Yes, yeah. Brilliant. Now, obviously, one of the topics I'd like to come on to today is about sort of, birding and enjoying wildlife in general with a disability like yours. So if it's okay with you, would you be happy just explaining to the viewers what your disability is and how it's affected you in life?
Yeah. I was diagnosed when I was 6.
Yeah.
Which I think, particularly for my parents, was very difficult.
Yeah.
And it's a condition called Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
Yes, yeah.
And unfortunately it's progressive.
Yeah.
But it means basically, in simple terms, that my muscles are gradually getting weaker.
Sure, yeah.
And I mean, I used to be able to walk and run around, for instance, and that seems a million years ago now.
Yeah. So in essence, you've got a speeded up version of life, I suppose, in some ways.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and it's difficult at times. I'll be honest, but it is my life, and at the same time, I wouldn't be me if I didn't.
Of course, yeah.
And I've experienced some things that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise. So there are other ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
There's things I do miss, and they will always be difficult. But I think, especially as I've got older, I've got more resigned to the fact that this is what it is.
Yeah.
I was very, especially in my early childhood, quite angry and really just, I'd been dealt a bad hand. And I think that was the hardest stage. But I think if I could talk to my 10-year-old self, who just literally stopped being able to walk, that it's going to be okay, and it's not so bad.
Well, I think that's admirable, and I'm sure there are, as you say, things you miss, but I suppose as an upside, at least you've still got your eyesight. You can still do what you love. It might not be much of a consolation, but it must be great to still be able to get about, and to see some of the amazing things that you have seen. And for example, recently I know you went to see the bee eaters not far from here, didn't you? Which unfortunately I just dipped out on. I just missed. When did they head back to Africa? Do you know?
Yeah, it's probably end of August.
Yeah.
Early September. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, I think I was just on the cusp of them going back, and I didn't have quite have time to go and see them. So, yeah, you must have been absolutely thrilled to see them.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Bee eaters in the UK, you'd never think it, would you?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them in France and Spain, but never a UK one.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, and of course they're now breeding in the UK. They've how many pairs was it this year? Was it 3 or 4 pairs that bred?
Something like that. Yeah.
So there was something like a dozen birds or so, was there about?
And I know that a few years back they had the single pair down on the Isle of Wight.
Yes, that's right. And now here we are in Norfolk with 3 or 4 breeding pairs. So hopefully they'll return next year and breed again successfully, which is just, yeah, I'll have to get back. I can't go 2 years without seeing them.
Yes.
No, that'd be amazing.
Well, they might come back.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Hopefully. No, it's brilliant. So, I mean, coming back to the disability, if I may, how do you find it's affected your experience as a wheelchair user, and then being able to access, well, birds in general, and you know, experiencing wildlife in many ways that a lot of people take for granted?
Well, there's some things you have to accept are just off limits.
Yeah.
And that is how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Blakeney Point, for example, is difficult for able-bodied people.
Yeah.
Let alone me.
That's
so,
right. Yeah.
But equally, I do think there could be improvements.
Yeah.
Some places where I've seen a very small tweak would make the world a difference.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
Yes. Yeah.
But generally, yeah, I think the thing is to work out your limits.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Which I think you've had to be reminded of once or twice by your mum and dad.
Yes.
And they've been, I believe there was a story about them rescuing you from a ditch at one point, was there?
Yeah, that was an interesting incident.
Yes, yeah.
In Spain.
Yeah.
Where we were going to, there was a colony of egrets.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing to see. And we were on our way back, and I used to have contraption for lifting my arm up.
Okay, yeah.
And it got stuck.
Oh, right.
And pushed on my joystick.
Oh, goodness.
So I was moving out of control. I couldn't stop it.
Wow.
Dad had to leap in front of me as the chair tipped over. So he was stuck.
Oh, blimey.
Underneath me. Yeah, it was. We were very lucky.
Yes, yeah. It sounds like it. One of those experiences you don't forget in a while.
No, and
I remember Jerry telling me the story actually, and saying he was remembering one point in particular when he was laughing with you whilst lying underneath the wheelchair, thinking, I hope somebody comes who's you know, pretty strong to come and lift you guys out. So
yeah, well,
luckily your mum went and got help, didn't she? Yeah, so I should probably say at this point that I think your mum and dad are absolute heroes, to be honest, because they're obviously the ones that have been helping with this project for one, and that's one of the many ways, but I guess they've been a real support structure for you through your life then, you know, helping you with everything that you've gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have done half the things I've done without their support.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to have such loving and supportive parents, and they've always helped me and encouraged me in sort of believing in myself. And realising that I can actually do quite a lot.
Yes, yeah, brilliant. No, they are fantastic, and as we speak, Jerry is currently working on the bird hide to your right, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is some structure. I think I'd almost live in that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a bit of a beast.
Yeah, and that's been kind of integral, really, hasn't it, in part of designing this part of the wildlife garden, which is hopefully going to be somewhere where you spend a lot of time.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
you're up here. And you've also got opposite, I think, the biggest bird feeder I've ever seen in my life. It's nearly as tall as I am.
It's pretty spectacular. Yeah, I'm really chuffed.
Yeah.
And Dad's a heart maker, so he works with wood for a living.
That's right.
So it is very much his forte.
Piece of cake for him then. if he can make a harp, I'm sure he can knock together a bird feeding station. Yeah, no excuses, Dad. But no, I think they're absolutely brilliant. They've been an absolute joy to work for, and I only wish every client were as accommodating and as helpful and fantastic as you and your parents. It's been an absolute pleasure, and you know, I've thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. And I think once this is all finished, as I suppose you're hoping this will be a real sanctuary for you, and somewhere you can come and spend a lot of time.
Yeah. And I mean, it already has been, to be fair.
Yeah.
The few trips we have done since it's been finished, it's been great.
Yeah, because I should say you live in Surrey, don't you? And this is where we are in Norfolk.
Yes.
Is kind of like your escape, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, and we've always felt a little uncomfortable at having two properties, but considering actually it's very, very difficult for us to find places for me to go away these days.
Sure. Yeah.
I need a lot of assistance with extra equipment.
Yeah.
And this seemed the obvious way around it.
And what better county than Norfolk?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and obviously from here you've got, you know, such attractions as the skeins of pink-footed geese that come in every year, and there's so much birding activity on this Norfolk coast, isn't there?
We've already got quite a list just from here.
Yes, yeah.
The osprey I've seen.
Yeah, wow.
That was really good. Right in front of the window.
Brilliant.
And there was cuckoo.
Oh, wow.
Which was very strange to see fly.
Oh, you saw it, did you?
Yes.
Oh, wow, brilliant.
Yeah, it flew fast.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, they're like a kind of a kestrel, aren't they, in a way? They're really odd looking when they fly. Really odd shape. They're kind of a mix of so many birds, I find.
Yeah, wheatear was another good one.
Oh, wow, brilliant. And again, probably just another good example of some of the migratory birds that you get through this part of Norfolk.
Yeah, visible migration. And it's just such a good area for that.
Yes, yeah.
Because you've got everything coming in off the coast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. So what would you say are some of the kind of more rarer species that you've seen around the Norfolk coast then, apart from the cuckoo, which obviously is a pretty rare bird to see these days?
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
And even in my lifetime they've declined drastically.
Yes, yeah.
And but yeah, no, we've had some very good encounters. I think one of the ones that was quite memorable, great spotted woodpecker.
Yeah. Definite audible chack there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it was the long-billed dowitcher.
Oh, wow.
That was really something.
Crikey.
Oh, the geese just behind you.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Or is it cormorants?
No, it's geese, definitely geese. Oh, how lovely to see. And we've just had a couple of ravens, haven't we? Just in the distance,
definitely.
just hanging on the thermals and the wind. It's just absolutely brilliant to see. Oh, there's the green woodpecker who's right behind you, right at the top of the conifer. You can't see, guys, but I assure you there's a great spotted woodpecker, not a green woodpecker, which I think I just said, sat on top of the tree. That typical chack, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's good noise.
So yeah, you got the dowitcher, and anything else?
I'm just trying to think. I mean, get a lot of this sort of, standard waders.
Yes, yeah.
Avocets and all that kind of thing, which is always lovely to see.
Yes, yeah.
If you go to Cley,
yeah,
just where we spend quite a lot of time.
Yes, yeah.
And then marsh harrier.
Yeah.
Which is a very special local bird.
Yes.
And recently I've seen spoonbills on a regular basis.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember seeing spoonbills at Titchwell Marsh many years ago, and just being absolutely blown away by it. Just thinking, there's a spoonbill in the UK. What's that doing here? But of course now, with climate change and everything else that's going on in the world, we've had an influx of egrets. For one, haven't we? I mean, 20 years ago, you would have barely seen an egret. Yet now, little egrets seem to be in nearly every dike you drive past. Yeah. and particularly down towards the Somerset levels now. You've got things like the great white egret, cattle egret,
Yeah.
and so they've really colonised a lot over the last 20 years, haven't they?
Yeah, and I've seen great white egrets
Mm.
up here a few times.
Yeah, brilliant.
This year, I've been a bit jammy. I've managed to see bittern twice
Oh wow,
in
lovely.
2 different places.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, getting a bittern out in the open is difficult, isn't it? Or
It's quite a
seeing one
rarity.
flying. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. And so along with that, have your, so would you say your parents have been an influence in terms of the wildlife, or did you naturally start noticing birds and different insects as a child, and then it just was sort of ingrained in you?
Well, Dad is a very keen bird watcher.
Yeah. And a very good mother.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something he got into, I don't know, probably about 20 years ago,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And that's just given us a whole new other world.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, because he's just shown me a Marvel de jour.
Yeah, it's such a
which is
pretty
just,
moth.
wow, those things are incredible.
Yeah,
It's a few years since I've seen one of those, but
but it's sort of really as well. Mum's keen on the wildlife,
yeah.
but not quite
Yeah.
as much as me and Dad are. So
Yeah.
it's very
Ultimate
much,
enthusiasts. Yeah.
yeah, and it's very much been something
Yeah.
that we do together,
Yeah.
which is really, really nice.
Yeah. Because one thing that I noticed, a comment that your mum made earlier today, was that by having you with them and by things taking a little bit longer and just physically moving you from one place to another,
Yeah,
they said that actually they've noticed so much more that you've spotted, because it's easy, we all do it, so many people sort of rush through from one place to another and you don't stop and listen or look.
yeah.
So I
And
guess
to be
that has
honest-
to be one of the upsides to the disability, is that you're given time to process a lot more than probably most people would.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I can't physically go fast,
Yeah.
or any faster than is possible.
Mm.
So therefore, I kind of embrace it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And sometimes I see things that others don't.
Yes. Yeah.
There was one occasion in particular where we were at Barnes, and there was a
The
woodcock.
Wetland Centre in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was this woodcock,
Mm.
and it was right in the bushes, really hard to see.
Oh yeah. God.
There was a whole load of bird watchers. They were having a nightmare trying to see it,
Mm.
and there was me with wonderful view, just because I was lower down.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's been several occasions
Yeah.
like
Well,
that.
you were laughing at them, saying, "Well, I've got the better view now."
Okay.
Oh, it must be nice, because I seem to spend a lot of my time trying to encourage people to slow down and just stop and listen. Like here we've
Yeah.
got 2 robins, ticking at each other, but it's so nice to stop and notice what's on your doorstep.
It is worth it.
Yeah, and just to listen, and that's the best advice I could give anybody who's getting into wildlife, is to just observe, stop and watch, and that way it's the only way I've got to know which most of the species of butterfly, for example in the UK, which plants they're nectaring on, because you physically see them visit one, or you might see a certain bee visit the same flower, and you memorize it. So I think it's hugely important to take it slow, to just enjoy what you have around you, because there is so much life, isn't there? Everywhere you look, it's incredible.
And even if you don't see very much,
Yeah.
it's still nice to get out
Mm.
and just it just lifts your entire day.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, even if it's one small thing,
Yeah.
like I don't know, seeing flower open for the first time,
Mm. Yeah.
or the first brimstone.
Yes.
Yeah. Just little things that they just get you through.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's it warms your heart, doesn't it, when you, like you say, things like in the springtime, seeing the first brimstone. For me, seeing the first orange tip, it's like I'm like a kid in a candy shop, you know.
Yeah.
It's just it does something to you internally, I think, doesn't it? When you see something like that, you think, wow, this is the first time this year I've seen that butterfly or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful moment, and I feel for people who don't have that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So while we're here, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, how has wildlife in later years, and you know, as you said, since you were 10 when you lost the use of your legs, how has wildlife been you know, a good sort of pick you up to get you through harder times when you sort of embrace yourself in it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I've been poorly or I've had like operations,
Yeah.
when I was 13, I had a full spinal fusion.
Wow.
Which was incredibly major.
Yeah.
It was under for 4 hours and
Cool.
took over 2 weeks sort of
Really?
in hospital.
Wow.
And then probably about a year's rehabilitation.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And wildlife then was great.
Yeah.
I was looking out the window when I was at the medical centre. I went to a school called Trelaws, which is for people with special needs. They were just great, you know, they were integral to where I've sort of gone next, really, in life.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that was a great positive, having, you know, a window to the outside world, if nothing else, at that time in your life. It must have been very helpful, I suppose, in keeping your mental well-being there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And what are some of the highlights for you now then, now that you've gone through procedures like that, and what are kind of some of the daily experiences that really make you smile then, would you say?
Yeah, I mean,
apart from the brimstone, obviously.
Yeah, I was certainly seeing like recently seeing the pink-footed geese arrive.
Yes, yeah.
That was very special.
Yeah.
And being down here, sorry, should I say up here?
Up here from Surrey, yeah.
Yeah, that's really something.
Yeah, brilliant.
There's many other things, really. I mean, even sitting here, looking at the acorns coming.
Yes. Yeah, plenty of them. There's a few on the deck now, isn't there? So I suppose we ought to come on to where we're sat in this wildlife garden of yours, and explain a little bit about why, obviously, I'm here, how we got to know each other, which was through creating this little sanctuary. And how has it been for you so far? Now that we've made the pond, we've made well, I should say the kind of outline specification was to make a wildlife pond, but to make it accessible for yourself, which obviously meant putting in a hard standing path. We didn't want to just put a concrete path in, so we put a nice kind of compacted gravel path, which is going to blend more seamlessly into the surroundings. And then obviously made the ramp up to this top deck area which we're sat on now, and put the sort of gripper tape on it so that it makes it easier for you in the winter time to still get out here without being too slippery. And then also the creation of the wildlife pond, which has already brought in a lot of wildlife, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been super, and I'm so grateful to you and your team for what you've done to make this a reality.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
We've sort of said quite a few years back now. Mum and Dad asked me, because we came in to a bit of money from inheritance.
Sure.
And I wanted to put it to good use.
Yeah.
And they asked me, what would you like to do? And I said, of anything, I'd want to make a nature reserve.
Yeah.
So this was as close as we could get.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, and it's just gradually developed. And then by chance, I messaged you, Joel,
Yeah.
And you came and had a look, and it just sort of went from there.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm very pleased it did, because now it's so lovely sitting here and seeing all the life around us. I mean, you can't see from the camera angle we're at now, but it's just absolutely gorgeous. You've got, you know, hazels. I mean, we've got a lovely hazel over there, which is due for a coppice, which is a rowan tree behind. You've got the bank over in this direction, which is to be planted with more native hedging this winter, isn't it? Which your mum and dad are going to look at doing.
We've got the apple orchard.
Yeah, you've got the orchard through there. You've got the existing meadow, and now with the addition of the wildlife pond, you know, you've really got all the elements you could possibly want. You've got rotting log piles, you've got herbaceous borders, and we've also got the rather special hibernaculum, which is, I think, well, it is 100% the biggest hibernaculum I've ever made. So I'm very pleased with that, which we use a lot of the kind of roots and branches on site to create like a bit of a kind of an understory, if you like, for some entrance holes, and we put tubes in, didn't we, some pipe, so that things can access the centre excuse me, so that things can access the centre of that hibernaculum. Things such as toads, frogs, newts in the wintertime, hedgehogs if they happen to stop by, and then we've covered it with soil, and I'm in a few minutes about to cover it with wildflower seed, which will hopefully next year be an absolute blaze of colour.
Yeah, the next stage in the project. And the great thing about a garden is it's evolving, so
yeah,
you know, it's sort of, there's always something new to do.
Yeah.
And that's a really good thing, I think.
Oh, 100%. And as a nation of garden lovers, I'm sure everybody watching this will agree that, you know, a garden is never finished. There's always things we've got to do, things we've got to cut back, things we want to add or change, and I think that's good, always having that sort of forethought that there's always more we can do for wildlife. And I'm sure, you being the very strong-willed person that you are, you'll get to the end of this lot and go, right, do you know what, I think we can do this now.
Okay.
So
it's pretty close to the truth.
I'm sure, and so I'm very, very confident that you know, we'll certainly see a lot of developments through the coming years in the garden. And now, of course, with the addition of your YouTube channel, which I was thrilled to find out about when your mum sent me an email about that. I thought that's brilliant, you know.
Yeah, well, don't know why I didn't do it sooner, really.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's great. People can really then keep up to date with exactly how the garden's developing, can't they? And some of the wildlife.
Yeah, plenty more to come on that.
Yes, so stay tuned. Like I say, check out Thomas's YouTube channel, which I'll put a link to at the end of this video. So I'm really looking forward to that, Thomas. I can't wait to see what you have up your sleeves to show us all, and to share with us some of the wildlife highlights. And what are the sort of things that you've been seeing in the garden, or, you know, before and now since the pond has been established?
Well, during the building we actually had the toads.
That's right.
Which you found.
Yes, yeah.
That was good fun.
Yeah.
And we've seen one since.
Yeah, oh brilliant.
Whether it's the same one, I don't know.
Oh, but, fantastic.
And then we've got all sorts of stuff in the pond.
Well, Jerry said you've had a southern hawker laying eggs on one of the logs.
Yeah, that was great.
Brilliant.
Yeah, there's a good photo of that. And got common data.
Yeah.
Which we're using the posts.
Yes.
Like non-stop.
They were almost landing on them when we were putting them in, weren't they?
And we saw them laying eggs.
Yes, that's right, yeah. The same day the pond was filling up, laying eggs. Absolutely fantastic. And bird life, have you seen an increase in that at all, or any more species?
Well, they've certainly been enjoying the bird feeding station.
Yeah.
Evidence is that the feed has gone down.
Yes, yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
We had a great spotted woodpecker actually using it.
Fantastic.
So that was super.
And when your dad hurries up and finishes this bird eye, which he's taking his time over, then you'll be able to sit and enjoy this part of the garden a lot more, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. I can hear a long-tailed tit.
Yes. Yeah.
Blue tit as well.
Chaffinches. They're not a common garden bird anymore, are they?
Sadly not, no. We hardly ever see them back home.
Yeah.
Quite a few here still.
Yeah. Oh,
which is
good.
good.
Yeah, I mean, as a child, and even up to the last, even 5-10 years ago, I remember seeing them. You'd always get a small flock of them under a feeder, wouldn't you? Always picking up the bits that were dropped. But yeah, they've dropped a lot.
Yeah, sparrows. Sparrows are interesting because it depends where you are.
Yeah.
Because at home we've got loads.
Yeah.
But here, you don't see them that much.
No. Yeah, they're a funny one, aren't they? They're definitely an urban bird these days, that's for sure. Unless you get the more rarer tree sparrow colonies, which are nice when you come across one of those. So I hope that we can follow this, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing your videos myself. I'm sure that everybody watching this will want to see some updates from you on the channel, and
more to come.
Yeah, we're going to have to get you a tripod and get you to do some some filming and get the main star of the show in the videos, I think. Which would be great. So I suppose, Thomas, if I may, I would like to ask if you had any kind of tips for anybody watching this who is either in a wheelchair themselves, or for anybody watching this who has the option to influence local nature reserves or influence the construction of any kind of public space which is due to be either a local nature reserve or a national nature reserve or anything like that, what would your kind of advice be in coming from a wheelchair user yourself?
Well,
or some of the common mistakes that you find people have made?
Yeah, I think for one thing, what I really wish with a lot of these things is some of the saddest things you find is you go to places and they say, oh, we've got a new bit done for wheelchairs.
Yeah.
And then you see that actually it doesn't work at all.
Really?
And I just wish most of the time with those things that they'd actually ask someone who has a disability to check it and just see if it works. Yeah. Because you find sometimes they poured all this money in. Yeah. And a common one is like bird hides. Yeah. And then you find there's like a post in the way. Yes. Of where you're looking. Yeah. Which is really annoying. Yeah, I can imagine. And of course, manoeuvrability is a key thing, I should imagine, for yourself. That's the reason we made this deck the size it is, so that there's no, because it's difficult for you to obviously judge where the edges are and see the sides of the deck and things. That's why we've put a bit of a kickboard around, so that should you too get a bit enthusiastic and come dashing up to the edge of the pond, at least you'll stop. But I think it's important to have obviously that space for people to, because actually using a wheelchair, even this one is quite compact, you need quite a large area to turn around and things, don't you? Yeah, and the other thing is I'd work out what you feel comfortable doing. Yeah. For example, if I go to a track, sort of look at it and go, okay, is that going to be okay? Yeah. In my chair. And if you're not sure, get somebody to walk a bit ahead just to test it. Yeah. Better being safe than sorry. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. And I think that must be a key thing, because it's obviously difficult once you go off-road with this thing, isn't it? As good as it is, and I've seen you quite nimbly darting around the grass areas of the garden, but once they get wet and they get to this time of year, it gets tricky, doesn't it? Yeah, it does, and you can very easily get stuck. Yeah. It's one of those things. I mean, I've got a whole list of places that are very good. Yeah. Cly, very easy to get around. Yeah. Okay. A little bit bumpy. Yeah. But that is something, if you do go out and you're not used to that sort of thing, be prepared for bumps, because they're not always level. Yes, quite. Be good at their wear. Yeah. But, barns, that's very, very easy.
Yeah.
Some places, like slightly, dare I say, more advanced level.
Yes. Yeah.
Places like Hickling Broad.
Yeah.
That can be tricky,
Mm.
but it's very good if you're intrepid.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good. Well, I mean, it's nice to know that there are places out there that are certainly accommodating, but I suppose it would be nicer from your point of view, and I would appreciate, you know, kind of knowing more about certain places gearing themselves up more for wheelchair users, because at the end of the day, as you've talked about today, it's been, I suppose, in some ways a bit of a lifeline for you, you know, to get you through the difficulties of life.
And the other thing I would say is, you know, a lot of people like myself, there are days when we get tired and you just have to rest a bit.
Yeah.
But it's amazing what you can see in your garden.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've seen some incredible things. Leicester spotted woodpecker.
Really?
That was really good.
Wow.
Goshawk.
Oh, wow.
All sorts of things.
Crikey. Blimey. Have you got a secret house you're not telling me about? Yeah, that sounds amazing. But you're very right though. It's you don't have to go far to witness wildlife, do you?
No, not at all.
I've had the best encounter with fieldfares and redwings in my entire life in my own back garden on a holly tree, you know, and by planting the right things and knowing what to expect, knowing what you can attract to a garden, it really helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and just the smaller things. So, do you think that having the disability has highlighted to you the smaller creatures in life in any way, shape or form, because they're slightly more accessible? Or
well, certainly in my photography, it does, because birds are very difficult for me to photograph.
Yes.
Whereas insects, if you're patient, they will come to you.
Yes.
Generally.
So Thomas, I suppose it'd be a bit rude of me to not mention your photography, seeing as you do take some wonderful photos. How did you get into photography initially then?
Well, originally it was when I received a camera for my 12th birthday.
Oh, brilliant.
That was what sparked it. And my first ever photos were of the old, I don't know if you know of this, there's a London to Brighton old Crocs race.
Oh, really?
And those were my first pictures.
Oh, fantastic.
The old bangers that they they go up to London in.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, wow. So then, did that naturally progress into wildlife, or did it take a while?
No, that was a very logical and natural thing, really.
Yes,
just sort of happened.
Yeah.
And most of my early pictures were of plants in the garden.
Okay, yeah. Oh, brilliant. And how do you find the photography nowadays? Is it a bit more challenging than perhaps it used to be?
Yeah, I mean, originally one of the great things about it was it was something I could do myself.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Sure.
But and it takes a bit longer to sort of organise things.
Yeah.
Once I get there, then it's okay.
Yeah.
I've got some really good software which allows me to control the camera from my computer.
Oh, good stuff.
So it's completely sort of bar telling people where to put the camera.
Yeah.
It's all me. So.
Yeah. Oh, well done. No, that's fantastic, and I should imagine that photography has brought you many pleasures in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of good times.
Yeah, I studied photography for my degree.
Yes, yeah.
And those were some really great years.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Well, I'm sure you can teach me many a thing about photography, because I'm not very good. I'm all right with a video camera, but yeah, photography, unless I can do it on my phone, I've never really been that great at.
My real sort of passion, photography-wise, a bit of a cliche word to use, but is macro photography.
Yeah.
Because close-up stuff, it just works really well, and I can be as still and take as long as I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, interestingly, the reverse of that, landscape photography, is something I've also got into.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's actually, bizarrely, quite a similar process.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think the macro world is incredible, isn't it? Because it just opens up this, you see something from a new light and you realise, wow, I never knew that's what a fly's eye looks like,
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. I was doing it a little bit earlier on some of the tansy next to the pond where there's some flies still using it for some nectar and pollen, and it's amazing now phones are just incredible, aren't they? They've the capabilities to do so much more. And I use mine to get some really, really nice macro shots. Nothing like what they should be on a proper camera with a proper lens. But for me, it's amazing to see that creature blown up, and to admire it.
To be honest, I think unless you're doing it for a living, at professional level, then a phone's fine.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
And I will say this, is actually, if you've got a good eye, doesn't matter what camera you've got.
Yeah.
But equally the reverse. If you think buying a fancy camera is going to make you a good photographer, then you don't get it, because
that's right. Yeah.
It isn't.
No. You have to have the eye for it, don't you? Which is which is all part of it. And it's great to know that you really have clearly got an eye for it, because not everybody has, and it's definitely a skill. In something that takes a lot of time and patience.
You can learn it,
particularly when it's wildlife. You have to have a lot of patience, don't you?
Goodness me, yes.
Yeah.
Then you have to watch the extras on Planet Earth 2.
Oh yeah.
For example, to know how long it takes to do things.
Yeah. Crikey, yeah. No, it's wonderful, and I'm glad that's something that you thoroughly enjoy, because it's it's not for everybody, and it's something that takes a lot of skill and patience, like I say. So hats off to you. Well, I'm very conscious of time. I know you want to get some stuff filmed for your channel, so we probably ought to think about doing that, and getting this bank seeded with these wildflowers before I head off. But I'm really grateful for you talking to me today. I think it's been brilliant.
It's really great. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you as well.
No, wonderful.
And brought up some good memories.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear them, and I mean, shall we end then, if you like, by what would be your tips to anybody now that you've had many years exploring wildlife in your own garden? What would be some of your tips to anybody just starting out who are looking to create a wildlife garden or looking to encourage more wildlife? What would your advice be?
Certainly do your research. That's one thing. And actually as well, I think if you've got limited knowledge of species, like, do some homework, work out some things, maybe sort of figure out what is around in your area, for example, and sort of adapt really your garden accordingly. And I mean, there's a few things. Having a pond, even if it's a really small one, makes a big difference.
Oh, you can't ask me, because I'm slightly biased towards ponds.
Yeah, that is true.
But they are amazing, aren't they? They really are.
They are
the source of all life, aren't they? So a pond is a good way.
That's the thing. You need water, food, and shelter.
Yeah,
that's the key.
Yeah, that's it. Well, if you remember nothing else, guys, water, food and shelter, you've heard it from the horse's mouth. That's a great way of remembering how you can attract wildlife into your own garden. And obviously do some research, or do drop some comments below if you've got any specific questions on any specific forms of wildlife you're looking to attract to your garden, because they all have slightly different needs in terms of, you know, their home and their shelter and the food that they rely on. So I'll do my very best to answer those. But I really hope you've enjoyed this interview with Thomas today. I think it's been fascinating getting his perspective on wildlife and his experiences with wildlife, and I really hope that it's opened your eyes as to how maybe you can approach some of your local nature reserves and suggest some improvements for wheelchair users to make it more accessible for them, because as you've heard from Thomas today, it really is an absolute lifeline to so many people, and all of us, those who are able-bodied and those who aren't. It doesn't matter. It will help us through a lot of hard times in life, being able to watch wildlife. So yes, please, and if you do nothing else, check out Thomas's YouTube channel. Like I say, the Blumire Wildlife Diaries, I'll put a link in now to one of his videos.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, and do make sure you hit that subscribe button and help Thomas reach some more subscribers, because yep, there is lots more to come. If nothing else, there's going to be lots of documentation, I'm sure, on this wildlife garden here in a currently very sunny Norfolk. So Thomas, any last words, or are you happy with that?
Yeah, I mean, probably mention maybe barn owls, probably my favourite bird.
Yes, I didn't ask you. I said to you before we started this interview, your favourite bird, that's going to be one of my questions.
Yeah.
Barn owl, good choice, yeah. Butterfly?
Oh, that's a tricky one.
Caught you off guard there.
I mean, at the ones I've seen, plain tiger.
Oh, nice.
It's one of the most magnificent.
Wow.
That was very special.
Yeah, not seen that one.
The UK species, I like good old small tortoiseshell.
Yes.
It's one of my favourites.
Good choice. Yeah, no, a common butterfly, but one that's certainly dropped, I think, in numbers of the last few years. And a beautiful, beautiful butterfly, which most people can associate with. Brilliant. And favourite insect to the pond so far, then?
Probably fun skater.
Yeah.
I like pond skaters.
They are a classic, aren't
they? Good fun to watch.
Yeah, good old reliable pond skaters.
Yep.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, thanks so much, Thomas. I really, really appreciated it today. And yeah, I hope people watching this will get an insight as to, you know, the challenges you face with watching wildlife, but also they'll leave with, I hope, some optimism as to, you know, how you've overcome many challenges and you're still bubbling with enthusiasm. I get that very much. And yeah, I hope that's a message to you all. So thank you very, very much for watching, everybody. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and indeed Thomas's, and I'll be sure to bring you many more videos on all the ways in which you can help wildlife to come. And fingers crossed, I'll be back here soon within the next year to see how this wildlife garden is developing, and hopefully Thomas will have spent some time in his wonderful bird hide by then and brought you some amazing videos. So thank you very much for watching from here in Norfolk. It's goodbye from the both of us. We'll see you soon.
Goodbye.